so I don't want to take too much of your time, but I think like I'm a pretty like high value man. Like I have a good
No.
val-
The whole Looksmaxxing thing has been around for quite a while now. However, since it's become super popular, it's become super saturated with people giving their own opinions on this topic. You'd think this would be a good thing. More insights and more opinions, right? Well, too many people are giving incorrect advice. They're going at it from the wrong lens. They're looking at things from a male's point of view, not a female's point of view. And in most cases, you are partaking in looksmaxxing in order to look better to women, not men, right? I guess you could just looksmax for both genders, double your chances of finding a partner, but generally speaking, people looking up the term looksmaxxing are straight men. So in this video, I'll go over how to looksmax properly to look your best towards women, not towards men. You'll understand the difference as the video goes on. Now, in some looksmaxxing videos, a lot of the focus is on your physique. They're kind of just gym videos in disguise. I will mention some gym stuff in this video, but most of it will be around your face and some other things you can do to improve your looks. I have no clue why there's such a focus on your physique. People see that a lot less than your face. I suppose they don't really know how to looksmax for your face, but they know it's a super popular topic, so they just throw together a gym video and title it a Looksmax video. But we all know the gym thing anyway. Be lean, don't be overly huge, broader shoulders, narrow waist. Women prefer the athletic body type more than the steroid-munching bodybuilder. The 7 different areas I will go over in this video are hair, teeth, height, style, jaw, grooming, physique, dating apps. Once you've gone through all these categories, you'll be golden. You'll have improved. So let's start with hair. First looksmaxxing section, hair. Now lately it's become more and more known that hair matters, but a lot of dudes still don't quite get it yet.
Every guy needs to shave his head before he's 30 years old, okay?
Every single young man should get a buzz at least once in his life.
There's this manly aura that emanates from having a buzz cut.
Who cares what a man's hair looks like? All men look the same. That's the truth.
All men look the same.
When you're a full-grown man, nobody cares what your hair looks like. They're going to care about the quality of man you are as an individual.
Nobody cares about the male body. Nobody.
Yet our culture has perpetuated this idea that men need to be pretty. It's so feminine.
You see some bald dudes, especially on YouTube, talk about how having no hair didn't impact them. Maybe they're lying, or maybe they're still decent enough looking, and for all you know, the chicks who don't care are fat land whales and not some 10 out of 10 fit gigastacies. Wow, good catch, bro. I remember some First Man video from back in the day where he was talking about how some chicks said he looked better bald. Well, maybe, or maybe she didn't want to say anything too controversial and hurt your feelings. If the chick I'm seeing / am in bed with shows me a picture of her blonde hair from years ago, and now she's a brunette, do you think I'm going to say, oh, you look better as a blonde? No, I'm going to say, I like your new hair better. Even so, most guys look better with hair. I am one such guy. My hair makes or breaks my facial appearance, as I mentioned in my previous video. Now, for a lot of young dudes, you usually aren't too worried about losing hair. I know I wasn't back in the day. I mean, maybe the social settings have changed and now people are more concerned with their hair. But back when I was late teens, early 20s, I only recall one dude who was balding really badly really early on. I remember catching up with a friend of mine, and one of the things he said was, hey, do you remember Sam, so-and-so from high school? And I said, yeah. And he said, yeah, he's bald now. And I'm like, what the fuck? We're 19. How are you already bald? This was not something I was ever worried about, since I always had a fluffy bird's nest of hair. Thanks, Filipino genetics. But in 2021, I'm 24 years old at this point, I was out for dinner with an old high school group, an old primary school group, and a couple of the boys made a remark on my hairline. That was the first time I ever even started to notice / be concerned with it. Now, they mentioned it because their hairlines were also receding. It's like a welcome to the club thing. In fact, it came up because one of our friends was almost bald at this point. He was like 22 at this point too. And then I'm like, oh crap, that could be me soon enough. I didn't do anything about it until like late 2022 when I bought minoxidil for the first time. I think it was late 2022 or maybe it was 2023. I don't know. Now, I can't actually tell if it's helped, but that might be a good thing because it means it can't have gotten much worse. I did obviously take pictures like before I used minoxidil, but even then I kind of can't tell. What was I going to do? Like draw on my forehead with permanent marker where my hairline was? I'm not going to do that. I guess I probably should have measured like the inches from my eyebrow to my hairline or something. Oh well, too late now. And anyway, according to this medical website, it doesn't even help with hairlines anyway. It more so just helps hair regrowth, which would imply it helps hair growth at your current hairline. I am fine with my hairline as it is now. It's not great, but I can fraud it with my hairstyle, having my hair cover the sides. I can't do much about the front unless I get a fringe, which a black pill channel called Tails used to recommend for guys. But this content is generally tailored towards younger dudes, and I can't really rock a fringe. If I did, I'd need to cut my hair shorter, which means I'd have less hair for the sides. Since my hairstyle is some sort of hybrid of slick back, spread out to the sides, and I need the extra length to make this happen. If I tried some sort of fringe with my current hair length, I wouldn't even be able to see. I plan on getting on Finasteride soon. I'm aware of potential side effects, but I'd rather ensure this receding hairline problem is nipped in the bud early. Rather than having to book a trip to Turkey years down the track, I've actually inquired about this already, and although it'd be cheap for me currently since my hairline isn't that bad, it's still quite costly. Much cheaper to take some medication every day. So, if your hairline is going back, look into topical minoxidil, the one you apply to your hair, and Finasteride, which is an oral medication you take that alters some hormonal shit in your body that reduces hair loss. There are some side effects, notably around bed fun time performance, but in most cases this is reversed once you stop using it. And guess what? You're probably not going to need that bedtime performance without your hair anyway. You're not even going to get to that point. No point being a fuckmaster 9000 in bed if you're not going to get that chance, since most chicks won't be digging your Norwood 6 Plus hairline. If you are already terribly receded, there's not much you can do to restore the hairline. You're going to have to look at hair transplants. And if your hairline is already almost fully gone, you may not even have enough available grafts to use. In that case, sorry to say, it's over.
Is it over? No, it's not over yet.
Shut up, Shadow. Yes, it is over. You're going to have to make peace with that lack of hair. Shave it off. Bald looks better than shockingly receded, although obviously hair looks better than bald. There are wigs you can use, very inconvenient, but gotta do what you gotta do, and as I'll mention later, everyone frauds anyway, so I wouldn't worry about the fact you don't naturally look like this. Most women on the street don't naturally look the way they do either. Some dudes wear caps/beanies everywhere. I guess you can fraud this for a bit, but make sure the hat doesn't go flying or it's over.
Smack! Hat goes flying. You know, I think that's the most brutal part about this video, guys. The hat just had to go flying. It just had to. You know, just to reveal the brutal, Norwood victim spot. Drink spilled, belly bloated, pants soaked, defeated.
The hat just had to go flying. The hat just had to take a one-way trip to Passport Bro land. The hat was a passport bro before the bro himself. The hat just had to go flying. Anyway. And I shit you not, some chick my mate was talking to a while ago literally made her ex wear a cap during the sexy fun times, since he was so unsightly to look at with his normal head exposed. It's so over if you don't have hair. Unless you have like a Jeremy Meeks skull, which 99.99% of us do not have, myself included, so I need my hair to carry me. Another point on hair, this kid's surgery from Omegle is used as an example a lot in the Looksmaxxing communities. I only know of his existence due to videos from Tails and maybe Rehab Room. Some people cope and are like, oh, he only looks good because of his hair. If he cuts it, he's not even that good. Or this guy Noah Beck, never heard of him until I saw a Tails video. I don't even think he's that good looking in my honest opinion, but no one gives a shit about my opinion. The opinion that matters is the opinion of women. And they obviously find him attractive, so who cares what I think? And apparently most of the attraction towards him is due to his hair. And co-comments are like, oh, he wouldn't look that good without hair. Yeah, no shit. That's why he has the hair, you idiot. Why don't I shave my hair? It's actually quite annoying fixing this in the shower every morning, so why not cut back on that time and shave it off? It's because my hair is the only reason I have an above average appearance. Without it, I honestly don't even think I'd be a 6 in appearance. Now, I've told you how to keep your existing hair. Now, what style should you use? Well, it depends. A lot of red pill channel types will say some shit like a buzz cut because it's masculine. Usually you want a bit more hair in your hairstyle. The channel Tails recommends some sort of TikTok e-boy hairstyle in his older videos. Maybe if you're a younger dude, even if you're a bit older like me, sure, try it. But most of the hairstyles involve some sort of fringe, which, as I mentioned before, I don't have. You just gotta try what hairstyle suits you. Mine is super unique, in my opinion anyway. It's like fluffy, it's poofy, it's spiky, it's curly. I like it. If you don't have the hair to have your own unique style, like most people, maybe look at the short on the sides, long at the top hairstyles. Different hairstyles look better on different people, so only you can try out these for yourself and see what suits you best. As for products, I used to use hair gel, but it was a bit too strong. Unfortunately, this was the only option I had for years, until recently I discovered sea salt spray, thanks to a suggestion from a friend. The chemist I spoke to when I bought it said it added more volume to the hair and whatnot. Yeah, sure, I'm just after it since it holds my hair, without being too strong like the hair gel. I've noticed a huge change in how much better my hair has looked lately. I'm having way less bad hair days. So good. There are other products you can use too. I don't use products in my hair when I shower, and my hair is fine. It sucks that I don't have some sort of sponsorship or affiliate link I could plug here. I probably should have waited to make this video till I had a sponsor, You hearing this, men's grooming companies like Dr. Squatch and Tej Hanley? Plenty of open space in this video for a sponsor. So funny timing with writing this script. Very recently I found this video from a new channel called Selfmaxer, and it was about hair loss. And he has some really interesting information on how to prevent hair loss. Yeah, I recommended minoxidil and finasteride earlier, which is still a legit way to prevent further hair loss, but he delves into the science behind hair loss and other more, I suppose, natural methods on how to prevent it. I'll play some of the parts now, but go check out the video itself for more information.
So, first of all, if that was true, then explain to me why the testosterone levels have gone significantly down in the past 50 years, whereas the rates of balding, the rates of androgenic alopecia, which is a term I despise, by the way, because it's completely inaccurate, has only gone up. How is that possible? Because DHT is aromatized from testosterone. The more testosterone you have, the more it gets converted into DHT. But as you can see here, this correlation is just strike one against the DHT theory. Now let's look at the second piece of evidence. Scalp Botox therapy. So this has been very well documented that patients suffering from androgenic alopecia, so DHT-induced hair loss, according to their diagnosis, when they are injected with Botox in their scalp, which the only thing that does is relieve scalp tightness, is relieve the tension in their scalp, well, they regrow hair significantly in like 84% of cases. So, if it was truly a DHT problem, then this wouldn't work. Then injecting Botox into people's scalps wouldn't regrow hair if it was all about the DHT hormone, okay? Now let's look at the third strike against this theory. It's quite simple. DHT, just like testosterone, significantly goes down as men age, as men get into their 30s, 40s, 50s. Now, if DHT was the main driver of hair loss, then explain to me why old men in their 50s aren't regrowing full heads of hair all of a sudden as their DHT level severely crashed down compared to what it was in their 20s. It makes absolutely no sense. And the last nail in the coffin is that they've actually done straight up studies comparing the blood serum DHT levels between a control group that didn't have any hair loss issues and a group of patients affected by androgenic alopecia, and they found statistically insignificant differences between the two, right? So, if all of those things are true, then DHT can't possibly be the main driver. It can maybe be a cofactor, and we're gonna get into that. But as you can see, the DHT theory itself doesn't make any sense. Now, what actually causes hair loss is nothing more than scalp inflammation, and I will get into what role DHT and genetics play into it, but first let's go into what actually causes the inflammation itself. So, things like vitamin and mineral deficiencies can cause inflammation. Lack of sunlight. As I said before, 86% of men that experience androgenic alopecia are vitamin D deficient. And that's just from the baseline that is like 800 IUs a day, which is nothing. If you get your 9 to 10,000 IUs, that's going to make a significant difference. Or sleep, that is a given. Sleep is like the basis of every single function in your body. Leaky gut or poor gut health. So this is an interesting one. If you have poor gut health, not only is that going to cause inflammation on its own, but you're also not going to be able to absorb nutrients at the same rate as somebody with a healthy gut. So all the minerals and vitamins that contribute to hair growth and that deal with systemic inflammation in the scalp are suddenly cut down dramatically if your gut health is shit. So no matter what your diet is, this needs to be addressed in order for you to function optimally. Hair product usage, that causes direct inflammation to your scalp. All of the toxic hair products that you use are damaging to your scalp, are damaging to your hair follicles, and directly cause hair loss. You need to stop using all of them. Your ancestors did not need them, and you don't either. Heavy metal / pollutant toxicity. So, talking about all of the heavy metals, all of the toxic substances in our food, in our air, in our environment, all of those different things contribute to scalp inflammation. So cortisol obviously also contributes to hair loss itself, but it also exacerbates scalp inflammation as well. And as a matter of fact, you can develop multiple different types of hair loss as a result of that. This is one of the big ones you want to eliminate. Oxidative stress, same thing. And that is caused by a combination of diet, environment, lack of sun, overexposure to blue light. All of those different things will contribute to oxidative stress, but thankfully there are ways to easily solve that. And poor mitochondrial function. So obviously you have follicular cells on your head, and they work like all of your other cells. The degree of functionality of the mitochondria determines whether your hair is growing properly and optimally versus actually shedding. And this is impacted by your diet, your exposure to sunlight, and the level of toxicity in your body. So the second thing is going to be getting a shower filter, because your shower water is filled with fluoride and with a bunch of toxic heavy metals. So those things contribute to oxidative stress and scalp inflammations. And this is especially important because showering is something you do quite often. And the water that makes contact with your scalp and hair, over time, those things add up. So getting a shower filter is one of the best things that you can do for your hair.
Funnily enough, quite a bit of what he said is stuff that I've been doing for the past several years anyway, such as a healthy diet, something I've followed for years. I feed my body every single vitamin and mineral. I also get a lot, or a decent amount at least, of sunlight. I live at home with my parents currently, and we have tank water since when we moved. I'm not even sure if the town we lived in had some sort of water system to get connected to, because it's a very small country town. But either way, the showers I have are using tank water, which hasn't been fortified with fluoride, unlike the water you'd get from connecting to the public system. I've had pretty low stress. I mean, yeah, I've had the 7-day work week, CPA study, growing a YouTube channel, learning about the stock market, gym routine for years. It's been busy, that's for sure, and obviously stressful at times, but it's not like both of my jobs are painfully stressful and it causes me to stress about them each and every day, which is a big reason why I'm working both of these jobs compared to others. There are definitely jobs out there that pay more than both of my current jobs, but my current ones are low stress and stable, which was my preference for the past few years anyway. Like stability over everything else, that was my preference. And this in turn has probably resulted in me keeping more of my hair. But I do think genetics still matter a lot. My siblings aren't massively balding either, and none of them have anywhere near the diet that I do, despite that being a key factor for keeping your hair, and one of my brothers has extremely stressful study, even worse than the study I had. Now, he didn't have the work/gym/stock/YouTube channel grind on top of all that, but it's still stress, and yet his hairline hasn't receded horribly. So I still do believe genetics matter in hair loss, and yes, minoxidil and finasteride still do prevent hair loss, just in a different way than most others think, but either way, it's a good video. Very informative, go check it out. After this video, of course.
Guys, today I've got some bad news for those in the community who are trying to keep the Reaper at bay. Many of you use 5-AR inhibitors like Finasteride and Dutasteride. Potential side effects of these has been known for a while. But now there's a new study that's been brought to my attention. This was published on March 21, only 2 weeks ago. It basically shows that it not only decreases sperm quality and volume during the intake when you take it, but even after you get off it, you don't see a significant recovery. So it might lead to infertility by permanently reducing your sperm quality, according to this newest study coming from Korea. It was known before that reducing sperm quality was one of the potential sides. But it was said that getting off it brings it back, brings the quality back. So the game plan for people using it has been, okay, when we decide to have a baby, then I will get off it. I will stop taking it. But this new study shows that no significant recovery in men who use it for longer than 19 months. It permanently makes your sperm quality go MTOP. That's tough. In this case, if you have been using it longer than 19 months, it might be GG, man. So you gotta choose between, risking infertility or hair. And I know some of you are gonna say, oh yeah, bro, if you are bald, there is even a bigger infertility factor. Right. Now, this study has some limitations as well, of course. It doesn't say that it will cause infertility 100%. It just suggests that there was not a significant recovery in sperm quality. The weakness of the study, I believe, is the discontinuation period. It is only 6 months, bro. I don't see the sample size as a serious weakness, even though paper cites it as one of the limitations. It is not the best. 2000 would have been better, but 200 is okay. I just wish they waited another 6 months. But still, guys, this is a concerning study for those of you who are on the test right. And I know for a fact that a lot of you watching this video are just brutal stuff, man. What have you been doing?
So that's the first bit on Looksmaxxing. Keeping your hair, it's important, no matter what the red pillars will say. Next section on Looksmaxxing, teeth. Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem. Now, I think people are kinda aware of this, but I see nobody else talking about it. Have a look at the following people.
Game 2, final score is 123 to 107, just wrapped up. And I don't even know where to start, man. Do we start with the Johnny Furphy minutes?
Worldwide aiming to impose reciprocal tariffs based on how he sees they treat the US. He declared this as Liberation Day.
Hello, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
What do you first notice about these people? Well, maybe I'm alone on this, but it's their teeth. They all have nice teeth, and their teeth are nice and white. Looks good. So, get this to help your Looksmaxxing journey. Now let's talk about teeth a bit more. Your smile is mostly genetic, I think anyway. I have an awkward smile. It's not like some genetic deformity, but I look better with a nonchalant face versus me smiling from ear to ear. One girl I know has a really nice smile, not through anything she does, she just smiles and it looks a lot nicer than other people's smiles. And I know 2 other chicks who I personally think are more attractive than she is, but they have worse smiles, if that makes sense. Like normal resting face or casual conversations, these 2 chicks look better than this other one, but smiling, the other chick looks better. That's like me. I look worse when I naturally smile versus just my resting face. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't teeth max. I remember seeing this comment from a Instagram post from Annabelle Lucia, or I don't know, the Gymshark chick. I don't follow her anymore because, quite frankly, I just don't care. but she posted some selfie in like her car of her smiling, and some dude was like, I like your smile or something. Obviously, Captain Simple-Lot over here. And she's like, oh, you know, thanks so much. I've been so insecure about my smile, blah, blah, blah. So if she's so insecure about her smile, like she most likely was with her body, why didn't she change her smile? It's because it's genetic. You can't really do too much about it. Same with me, or I would have fixed it by now. So if you have crooked teeth, get braces. I had braces as a teenager. I think now you can get some alternative that's kind of invisible, or some retainers that can like fix your teeth. I don't know, not relevant to me, but look at fixing your teeth. Yeah, it's expensive, but this is your appearance we're talking about. Can you really put a price on that? Next, teeth whitening. I am assuming you brush your teeth already. So let's go the extra mile, shall we? I'm aware of some teeth whitening toothpaste that is only temporary, which is fine. That's all you need. As I'll talk about more later, everyone frauds. Girls wear makeup for one event for a few hours. They get rid of it later. I wear nice clothes for an event. I put on my ugly pajamas when I'm back home. So temporary teeth whitening is fine. You can do this with some toothpastes apparently, but what I used to use back in the day was a specific teeth whitening gel that would go into your retainers. You'd wear this for like 30 to 60 minutes and then take it off and brush your teeth afterwards to get rid of all the gel in your teeth now. Your teeth would be a bit sensitive after this, so make sure this is something you do after you've eaten your last bit of food for the day. And this did work. I'd get comments about my teeth being so white when I was at work. An additional bonus, if you have darker skin, like I do, the whiter teeth generally look better, in my opinion. Obviously they look good even on white people, but they're accentuated on darker skin. Now lastly, your teeth size are obviously genetic. I have bigger teeth, but some people have smaller teeth. What this results in is what's known as a gummy smile. This is where they smile and you can see a lot of their gums. This is conventionally unattractive. I don't think it looks the best, so that sucks. Nothing you can do about this though, right? Well, actually, there is 3 things you can do. 1, get Botox on your upper lip, the type of Botox that makes your lips bigger. This may seem odd for a guy to get, but what it does is it reduces the amount of gum shown when you smile. If your upper lip is big enough to cover your gums, you no longer have a gummy smile. Problem solved. 2, this is way more extreme, but you can get fully fake teeth, like what your old relative has. They only have gums, they have fake teeth. However, that involves having no existing teeth. Probably not the route you want to go down in the early years of your life. And 3, you could always do some dental work like crowns, composite bonding, etc. So not all hope is lost if you have small teeth. So that wraps up section 2 on Looksmaxxing, that being your teeth. Next section, height. Specifically, frauding your height. Okay, so this next section is a little controversial, as if the video itself wasn't controversial in the first place, but this section is about frauding. What is frauding in the context of this video? It's where you're faking something. Something you're presenting isn't 100% authentic to yourself. Now, most people do this to an extent anyway. For instance, my physique pictures. Any gym pictures I upload are with a pump and in somewhat good lighting. Do I look like this all the time? Of course not. Same with my resume. Although I didn't outright lie in my resume, there is a lot of fluffed up and exaggerated responsibilities in this one. We all do it with selfies we take. Well, I know at least some women do it. Do you really think that Insta model you follow took one random pic and uploaded it? Or did she take several and spend 10 minutes choosing between them? There's also yoga pants and those booty shorts that you buy from like any fitness brand. They make asses look way better than they actually are. All of these are frauding, so don't worry about it, since we all do it. Now the frauding I'm talking about here is your height. Now I fucking hate talking about height since you can't do anything about it, and women especially won't shut the fuck up about it, but unfortunately, it does matter in dating. No coping here. So what can you do about this? You can use sole lifts in your shoes, coupled with wearing shoes that have a natural boost in their sole. And then you can combine this, use polymerization, with sole/shoe lifts that go inside the shoe to give you more of a boost.
Oh man, a polymerization card? That's no help now.
So what you're seeing on screen now is a little quick video I made. I bought these sort of like more stylish sort of shoes. Like these shoes can go with almost any outfit, right? And as you can see from where my thumb is, that's the height of the sole. So this is the extra elevation I get from wearing this shoe. Now what I've added here is a sole lift or a shoe lift. I think this is about 3.5 centimeters, so it's like what, a bit over an inch for you Freedom Unit friends. So putting this inside that shoe gives me a pretty decent boost. Now what you're seeing now, you'll see like 2 pen drawings, right? As well as a tape measure. The bottom pen drawing is like where my head was before I put the shoe and the sole lift on, and the pen drawing above that is my height with the shoe and the sole lift on. As you can see, it's a bit more than 2 inches, probably something like 2.5. So this is quite the boost. I stand at 182 centimeters flat foot, and now I stand at 188 centimeters, maybe even 189 centimeters with this extra boost in my shoe and the sole lift. Now, I was walking around in these before, and admittedly, it was a little bit uncomfortable on my ankles. They're still a little bit sore, and I didn't even walk for that long in these. Perhaps it's something you could get used to, or what you could also do is you could find something that's got a bit more support for your ankles, like those sort of work boots, but find one that's a bit more stylish. Or you could just wear these anyway and pray that you don't have to walk too much. Example, if you go out for dinner with your friends, there's not much walking involved with that. Now, yeah, you'd be sitting down, but obviously you'd look a bit taller when you're standing up. Or if you go to like a party, just hope that you are only standing for a little bit, then you sit down and no one can tell from there. They're not uncomfortable to stand in, but they are a bit uncomfortable to, well, they're not uncomfortable to walk in. It's just your ankles get a bit sore after a while, and even after you take them off. Not sure if it's something that takes getting used to or it's something you got to put up with. But either way, I've just given you this information. Do with it what you want. I wouldn't go too far with this. Like, don't buy shoes with like a 2-inch elevation and pair it with a shoe lift that has like a 3-inch elevation. You'll have to do some explaining sooner or later for all that extra height, but a few inches should be enough. I went to a friend's birthday party a few months ago and she was wearing heels and I was wearing like these flat Converses, no lift at all. And she was like taller than me in that situation. And a few months later, when she was shopping at my second job and stopped by for a chit chat, I was a good amount taller than she was due to her wearing flat shoes and me wearing steel cap boots with an elevated, like, boost. Obviously, I'm taller than her in general, but often people have height fluctuations in certain social events and whatnot. At my second job at a supermarket, I wear steel cap boots, since, you know, toe safety, and my boots just so happen to have a decent boost in the height, so I walk around taller than usual. But most other staff members also have these, so it kind of doesn't change anything, but it does change your height compared to the general customers walking around in sandals or regular shoes. Now this brings up the question, won't you get exposed for this sooner or later? What happens if you get a relationship out of this and eventually she sees your height without your shoes on? Valid question. However, everyone is worse behind closed doors, and everyone has a better appearance in public. This is just one of those scenarios. Example, girls without makeup. You meet a girl for the first time. Chances are she has makeup on. On your first few dates, she continues to wear makeup. If it results in a relationship, eventually you're going to see her without makeup. Is this her frauding? Yes. So you're also doing the same. You would hope this isn't a deal breaker. Example, her being uglier than expected without makeup, or you being shorter than expected without the shoes. But you've got the hardest part solved, the first impression. It's like job interviews. You got to fraud your way through a job interview, and when you get the job, you can relax a little bit and hope that your authentic self is enough to still keep the job. Like I said earlier, I wouldn't do this with like 1/2 foot of height, but just that little bit extra can help. Even then, how often are you both going to be barefoot together? Maybe indoors and at the beach, but on dates, social settings, etc., you're both going to be wearing footwear. Also, another example, big tits in low-cut tops. A lot of the times the melons look bigger and perkier in the shirt than they do when they're free. In a lot of cases, the tits sag a bit. Does every chick wear a top that accentuates how saggy they are? Or do they wear stuff that makes them look bigger and perkier? Exactly, more frauding. So do some frauding yourself. The shoe lifts and sole lifts I showed you just before, I only bought them the other week. I'm going to fraud my height a bit at my new gym and social settings from now on. Just a couple of inches. Who's going to know? Not anyone in public, that's for sure. Neither are the people at my new gym because they hadn't seen me before. They'll likely never see me without shoes on. The same way that chick I saw at the shops the other week, she had amazing huge tits, but I'll never know that they actually sag really bad and she was frauding. The same way I'll never know that guy revving his Ferrari down the street the other day only got that due to a huge loan that's now crippling his finances. And that hot chick I saw on the train the other day, turns out she looks terrible without makeup, but I'll never know that. In the meantime, she got a confidence boost because she had guys looking at her in public. Frauding a little is fine. So that's height. Use different shoes. Thankfully, there are some nicer shoes that can go with almost any outfit, which I'll talk about soon. Some people also suggest like a pointier hairstyle or vertically striped clothes to make yourself look taller. I don't know, sure. In my opinion, you're better off having a hairstyle that gives you a nicer looking face versus appearing taller, which kinda doesn't make sense. Like, I'm looking at your eye level when talking to you, not the top of your hair. And with the vertical stripes, very rarely do these sort of clothes look good. You're better off having nicer clothes that make you look better overall versus overall taller, which in that case, again, I'm still looking at your eyes, not your striped shirt, which is why I've only talked about footwear in this section. So that's it in terms of height for Looksmaxxing. Nothing you can do about it other than frauding it a little with your footwear. And no, Austin Wayne fucking Chad pills won't make you taller. I only know of this guy's existence due to Rehab Room. I may or may not make my own video on him, but go watch this Rehab Room video on screen if you believe you can buy pills to make yourself taller. Spoiler alert, you can't. If you're on the shorter side, you're going to need all the money you can get to live a good life, unfortunately. Don't be short and broke. Don't waste your money on this fucking nonsense. So fourth Looksmaxxing thingo, your style. I never cared about this in the past, never realized it mattered so much. So what most guys do is dress in tight muscle fit clothing. Not the best look. Weed Waffles made some video ages ago on how he dresses in muscle fit clothes. This is not how you want to go about it.
So, as you could see from that previous segment, there was about £300 worth of items in total. Now for this last part of the video, I'm just going to go over a little bit of clothes/style maxing. So you're going to see a few clips being played here of myself wearing various different outfits that you'd expect me to wear on different occasions. For example, this outfit on show right here is something that I would typically wear to the gym. And this outfit coming up here is the kind of clothes I would wear on a night out. And what you're going to notice about a lot of these clothes is that a lot of them are these slim/muscle fit type clothing. They fit well and they wrap around my body tightly. And they work especially well if you've got a good physique, if you're quite lean and you've got a lot of muscle definition. And I've spoke a lot in my previous videos that the whole point of Looksmaxxing is to accentuate your best features and to cover/hide your worst features. So you're going to see in a second here as my filming assistant pans around, I've got a bit of a natural V-taper, and these muscle fit tight clothes are excellent at displaying this feature. So the point I'm trying to make here is, rather than spending loads and loads of money on clothes hoping it's going to look good, you don't need to spend £100 to look good. Rather, what's more important is buying clothes that suit you well and complement your physique, even if they are a little bit on the cheaper side. In fact, most of the outfits you're seeing right now aren't even that expensive. Almost all of my clothes shopping is done at H&M, where most products are £5 to £15. For example, this grey top I'm wearing right now, I believe was only £7. So I'm just trying to reinforce this point that you don't need to spend loads of money to look good.
I know the video is years old at this point, but I'm sure other people have still heard this advice recently. If you are ripped, yeah, obviously you want to show it off, but you come across as a tryhard. I have a pretty decent back and shoulders. Wearing stringers really accentuates these features, but would I wear a stringer to dinner out? Fuck no. You look like a tryhard. No one will even see your gains because you'll be wearing a thick turtleneck of shame.
Pat an H&M button down. You can't just rip off your shirt. No one will even see your body because you'll be wearing a thick turtleneck of shame.
This is why you need to look smacks in your face. Your physique can't carry you 24/7. Sydney Thomas and Sydney Sweeney have amazing tits, but it's not like they're exactly butt ugly either. Obviously they have amazing bodies, but they also have the face to go with it. I know that some chicks with nice asses will always dress in tighter clothes that emphasize their ass, but this approach never looks as good on men. I was out at a party a few months ago back in the city, and I walked past security guards for some other bar, and one of the guards had enormous arms, like 20% body fat, roided, bulk maxed arms, but he was wearing one of those really short sleeve tops. Looked really bad, to be honest. Mega tryhard. Now, he was a security guard, so I think the idea is to look intimidating, but it doesn't change the fact that it looked bad. You do not want to be doing this. Think of skinny jeans. They're tight and muscle fit. Girls wear tight jeans to show off their asses. Looks good, yeah? Well, not on men. I legit used to wear skinny jeans. Back in the day when I was super into the YouTube fitness scene, my 3 favorite fitness YouTubers at the time, Marine/Student Aesthetics, Rob Lipsett, and Joe Delaney, were all sponsored by a brand called Legend London at one point. And one of the items I remember them rocking in one of their videos was skinny jeans. And I'm like, I gotta get me a pair of those. So I did. Monkey see, monkey do, right? Well, I caught up with my friend at one point. This friend is a chick, and I'm wearing my skinny jeans. And I'm like sitting down at a bus stop, so she's walking over. I stand up to greet her. What is the first thing she says? She literally says, "Are those skinny jeans?" With like an ick look on her face. Oh my god, ick! It gives me the ick. And I said something like, yeah. And she said something like, I don't know, something that was disapproving of it. I also wore these jeans on one of my holiday trips, and I legit had my friend comment, "Why are your jeans so tight? Are you selling ass to afford that trip?" So don't do skin tight stuff. Doesn't work as a dude. I know you want to show off your body, but there's a time and place. If you show it off constantly, it comes across as you being tryhard. You want to be a bit nonchalant about it. Like, yeah, I got a sleeper build underneath this. Okay, I get it. No tight clothes. So what do I wear? Well, generally a more baggy shirt, some sort of jeans and nice shoes. The sort of black boots I showed earlier usually works well because you can get that extra bit of height with the shoe itself and couple it with the shoe lifts, as I mentioned before. The color coding is up for debate. Some say white colors, some say black. Just make sure it kind of flows together properly. I'm showing a bunch of ideas on screen for this, but you can't really go wrong with a baggier shirt, not like an hoodie sized shirt or anything, but not something muscle tight either. You can also try on jewelry like rings and necklaces too. It's the cherry on top of the cake, but it's not going to overshadow things like skinny jeans and muscle tight V-neck shirts, for example. On screen are some videos that can provide you with some ideas on styling. The reason I haven't gone through like a wardrobe haul or whatever is because there's a lot of clothes that look good, and it'll depend on your preference anyway, but you can't really go wrong with the baggy shirts, jeans, and nice shoes. Looksmaxxing Thing 05, Jaw. No surprise the jawline was going to come up in a Looksmaxxing video. Now, some people believe that mewing can help you get a better jawline. There is some research on this. However, if you're like older than 20, your bones are like already fused shut. There isn't much you can really do to change it. I have talked about mewing myself on this channel years ago, since I fell into the hype, but the primary reason I believed it was because it happened to me in my teenage years. At least, I think it did. So I had a glow up between the ages of 16 to 17, and again in my face between 20 to 21. Although the 20 to 21 thing was due to getting super lean, shredded maxing, which in turn helps your face. Improvement! Carried forward to even now. I don't know how to explain it, but my face was noticeably better after getting ripped. It's like I went from Bagon at 16 to Salamence at 17, we skipped the Shalgon step, and then from Salamence at 20 to Mega Salamence at 21. So I think the changes from 20 to 21 were gym/body fat related, unless there was some second wind from puberty or something. But between 16 to 17, there was a huge change in my face. You can see proof here. No face reveal, obviously. I'm not going to dox myself to prove a point. But what I did here was I posted my old student ID from high school in year 11, which was when I was 16 years old. I posted this on my Snapchat story, and you can see the responses. Your glow up, wow! This chick never knew me pre-university, so she had no clue I looked like trash in my early high school days. And this other chick, she did know me from primary school, so she's known me basically most of my life. She says, what's funny is I legit remember you looking like this, haha, and being a weird dinosaur boy. Because I loved dinosaurs back in the day. Still do. So obviously those comments imply I look way better now. So what does this glow up have to do with mewing? Well, When I was 16, I was still playing basketball, and I just wanted to be taller. The taller you are, the easier it is to dunk, right? Still never dunked in my life. So I was looking at everything possible to become taller. Obviously you can't, but I was naive and desperate. Thus, I would fall for anything, such as hanging off a bar, even though all this does is temporarily stretch out your spine. Well, one such method I saw was sleeping flat on your back, since I would always sleep on my side before this. So I changed my sleeping position to try and grow taller. Spoiler alert, didn't work, but one unintentional side effect was my jaw getting a lot better. This is part of the mewing philosophy. You put the tongue on the palate so your jawline gets better. Because I am now sleeping on my back, not my side, my tongue now rests on my palate when I sleep. At least I think it did, as opposed to my tongue resting on my cheek when I laid on my side. I originally just thought I had some puberty transformation, but when I discovered mewing, I was like, oh, that's probably what I inadvertently did back in the day, rest my tongue on the palate. Now maybe that is what happened. After all, I was 16 to close to 17 at this point. My bones weren't fully closed. However, I doubt this can happen once your bones are closed. You've got the ChatGPT summary here. Instead of showing a bunch of articles, it's more straightforward just to show ChatGPT's response versus delving into the source material. Even so, looking at all the mewing transformations, there is either A, not much difference, B, the difference is explained by lighting and posture, or C, the difference is due to them losing body fat, not mewing. This guy here had a change, but he literally just got leaner. That's all he did. Not to mention the change in posing and lighting. This next example is literally Connor Murphy. I know who this guy is. This is just an angle and pose change. He's always had this sort of jawline. And here is another one that's simply due to a change in body fat percentage. This is why I originally believed in mewing. I saw the transformations and then reflected back on my own. However, after a certain age, your bones are fused shut and you can't do much or anything to change it. And maybe my transformation was due to puberty magic. It could have been due to the tongue resting on the palate thing, but it doesn't matter now. I'm 28 currently. My growth plates are well and truly closed. My face structure and height are now permanent, barring any surgeries or tragedies. You can see again, ChatGPT showing that basically your bones in your face also close. So, unfortunately, it's not a boy, it's not a girl, it's over.
I don't want, to have a son instead of, the doctor when the fucking kid pops out. I don't, instead of him saying, is it a boy, it's a girl, it's a boy, he's going to say it's over.
Or is it? You can do the best with what you're given. What you can do to get a better jawline, or at least make yours more visible, is by losing weight. No kidding, the difference between 10 and 15% body fat is wild. Get super lean, get abs, and see how it changes your face. In most cases, you will look better, but I have seen in some cases people actually look better at a higher body fat percentage, but you won't know until you actually get lean. And worst case, if you look worse when you're leaner, just get a bit fatter again. Go to McDonald's a bit more often. Easy done. And I'm pretty sure most people who know what Looksmaxxing is knows about losing weight in the gym. Eat at a calorie deficit. Cardio is a more efficient way to burn calories versus weightlifting, but you should obviously still do resistance training to gain muscle, not only for the aesthetic reasons, but having more muscles raises your basal metabolic rate, which means you burn more calories at rest, making it easy to lose weight. But I'll talk more on the physique and gym thing later. So yeah, sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Besides losing weight, you can't really do anything about your jaw. The reason I say this, and barely anyone else does, is because you can't sell a product based off of this information. Like, how can I monetize this information? Hey guys, it's over, but don't worry, you can still cope with my specialized chewing gum. Whereas if I said, hey guys, it's not over, you too can get a glow up just like me, just buy my gum. Sigh. The struggles of being an ethical person. Thankfully, unlike the online grifters, I have an education, jobs, investments, house, etc. I don't need the grifting money. Next up, grooming. I suppose hair falls under this category, which I already talked about, but this category includes things like grooming your beard, eyebrows, body hair, stuff like that. So for your beard, much like hair, there is no one size fits all. I can't personally grow a nice beard, It looks shit. It's sort of patchy. It looks messy. It doesn't even grow that much. It's not nice looking like what you see with other dudes. So I work with the cards I'm dealt. I don't try and force a beard. Now, I don't have a scruffy beard. People get mistaken when they hear that girls like guys with nice beards. Nice beard doesn't mean long as possible beard. A video I mentioned earlier from Tails has some actionable information on optimal beard length. I'd suggest if you can grow a nice one, make sure it's well groomed, aka not scruffy. Eyebrows are another big one in the grooming sense. A lot of people suggest thicker eyebrows, and that illusion can be achieved with eyebrow pencils. Do consider this. Mine are naturally on the thicker side anyway. They're not super scruffy like Steven Van Meter, and they're not really thin. One of my male friends once said I should trim my eyebrows, but his were like really thin, and this was like 2016. Maybe standards have changed since then, but I personally wouldn't worry too much about your eyebrows. As long as you have some, unlike Peter Dutton, and it's not a unibrow, like Anthony Davis, you should be fine. I doubt your eyebrows will make or break your appearance in most cases. As for body hair, some women say they like chest hair, for instance. Really depends on the preference, but I believe most of them prefer you to have no hair. I have no hair in my torso. I saw this was memed recently, like men with no body hair below the eyebrow shouldn't be trusted or something.
I was thinking about this the other day. Someone mentioned something about, what type of traits in a guy that immediately makes you distrust them. Those two things were, if a man is bald from the eyebrows down, if it bald like nothing, that's it, no.
Bald from the eyebrows down. So like no hair whatsoever from the eyebrows down. I mean, I guess this means shaving your forearms and your legs and stuff. Yeah, that's pretty stupid to do. I don't think anybody recommends to do that, but as far as facial hair is concerned, it really depends on your face shape and just the overall style you want to go for.
But say what you want, I would wager that no body hair is better than too much body hair. You can shave this, but I get laser hair removal. It does get costly, but it prevents shaving rashes from constant shaving, and it basically reduces hair growth by like 99%. So you don't ever really need to worry about shaving much again after you've had enough laser hair removal sessions. I also do the same with my neck beard and my pubic region. I have heard some chicks dig the down under hair. I can't really imagine why. I don't like it on a chick, and I'm not a hypocrite, so I'll get rid of mine. So those are just some tips on grooming yourself. Don't have an excessively scruffy beard, don't have super thick or no eyebrows, no unibrow, and look at removing body hair. Okay, second last Looksmaxxing point, your physique. Quick section here since this otherwise just morphs into a Gym 101 video. No need for performance-enhancing drugs, you can get plenty big enough for the female gaze without it. Plus, in a lot of cases, it can fuck up your skin with pimples/acne. One of my close friends has a pepperoni pizza back due to all the bacne from his gear that he takes. Not a good look. Overshadows his enormous lats, to be honest. Like, his lats are pretty huge, obviously because he's a gym rat on gear, but it just still looks bad because of all the fucking bacne. It looks so bad. Oh my god, bro. Trust me, you can get big enough lats for women without the gear. Train your whole upper body. Some people say, oh, what do I focus on for women? Your genetics, but in terms of gym, everything. Don't have overly developed biceps but no deltoids. Don't have huge pecs but no back. Yeah, people say V-taper is the ideal thing, so focus on shoulders and lats. Yeah, sure, but why not just build an overall good body in general? If you're solely after female approval, you don't even need that much anyway. You definitely have the time/resources to build up all the muscles decently. It's not like you need to spare any expenses here or there. It's not like, oh, I really need to focus on my shoulders so I have to back off with the volume everywhere else in my body. No, you can have it all pretty even Steven and still look plenty good enough for the female gaze. As for legs, grow them too, but don't listen to the roid munchers telling you that tree trunk legs are key. No, they're not. My legs aren't huge. They're athletic enough to avoid skipping leg day accusations. I've never had any chicks make any negative remarks on them. Even so, most pics I took focused on my upper body anyway. I recall one comment I received on my quads, and it was a positive one. Like, I posted a Snapchat before a party and I made sure my quads were also flexed, and some older lady I used to work with made a comment on my quads. Besides that, I've never had a girl compliment my legs. I've also never had a girl say anything negative about them either. Plus, with tree trunk legs you can't fit into jeans anyway. How are you going to style max if you can only wear loose shorts? You will need to bulk for a bit, so the cuts, veins and abs may temporarily disappear. At least I have to bulk properly to grow. I know some people can still grow with minimal body fat gains. I basically need to go into a cocoon, aka get fatter for a bit, to grow. All of my successful bulks involved a period of being fatter, so maybe bulk when you know you won't have much social shit on. Like, I don't know, if you know for a fact you have a lot of social events in November and December, bulk from January to August or something, but make sure you eventually cut. I know being strong and having a bigger overall frame is nice, but being leaner is key for the female gaze. That's all I really need to say on physique. I made a video on how it's actually easier than you think to have an aesthetic body, so go check that out if you want more info on this topic. Last section, dating apps. How does this play into Looksmaxxing? Well, you're presenting yourself on these apps, aren't you? So how do you go about the best way to present yourself? If you have a nice lean body, probably use it as your first pick. Some sort of pic that someone else has taken usually looks better than a mirror selfie, but I used a mirror selfie back in my younger years and it worked fine. However, that didn't account for inflation over the last few years, so maybe you will need to take that extra step and get, like, a picture that it looks like someone else has taken. Obviously, you can just set a self-timer on your phone. That should do. Back to the height thing. Again, unfortunately, it matters, so don't upload pictures next to your taller friends or other things that can make you look shorter. Example, next to a big dog, next to large natural structures like a tree or a street sign. Obviously, a street sign is not an actual structure, but you know what I mean. Don't upload pictures next to stuff that makes you look smaller. Remember, dating is like your career. It's like a job interview. First impression is the most important. Fraud a little, the same way you're swiping on girls with makeup and push-up bras. Fraud a bit by using objects that you are larger than in the picture. Or you can use pictures like what is shown on screen. Thanks again to YouTuber Tails. He's obviously not the only advice you should consider, but he's just the easiest to grab information from for me since I'm more familiar with his channel and his videos. Now here's 2 pics you could use. Well, you couldn't use these ones specifically, obviously, since this guy is not you. And if it is, hey man, nice abs. But notice something? These 2 pictures here fulfill what I've said in this video. The first pic has a baggy shirt, not a muscle-tight shirt. The second pic is a lean shirtless pic. He isn't some roid max gym rat. And it's a picture that someone else took. It's not a mirror selfie. Like I said, mirror selfies can be fine. It worked for me. But a better picture would have been like this, where it looks like someone else took it. I'd personally just get a stand that can hold your camera/phone and set the self-timer, or take a video, just pose, and then take a screenshot of you posing in that video. Now, do not worry about your bio. For some fucking reason, dating coaches will tell you it matters. Bruh, you do realize chicks don't actually read your bio if you're not attractive, right? I showed the following clip in my video on the true value of Hamza's Adonis school, but I will show it again in this video since it's appropriate for this video too. So watch this.
No. No. Big no, big no. Let's just
So picky.
What the fuck name is Ashik?
Now that video was from back in the uni days, when I was super social, and his swiping left had been going on for a while. I didn't just say, hey girls, want to make a fun YOLO Snapchat? No, they had been swiping for a bit, and I'm like, okay lol, let's capture this banter. Trust me, there was a lot of left swipes. So the point of me saying that is, this was very authentic. It wasn't some skit by any means. I was with 2 of my female friends for my wagey job. One was obviously swiping, the other girl talking was giving her suggestions, you know, as friends do. And I said, so picky, because I'm right. But guess what? That's what women on dating apps do. How many bios were read in the video I just showed? None. They don't care, bro. They do not care about whatever the hell you write in your bio. I made a meme joke about having a small dick in my bio. I thought it was funny and original at the time, but my other mate who was also on Tinder a lot said that that wasn't original and that the joke was old. Well, look, even after saying I have a small dick and using an old joke in my bio, I still got heaps of matches. No one cares about your bio. Think about it from your point of view. If you see a fat bitch on Tinder, you swipe left. Do you care about her bio? Fuck no. I don't. If you see a Sydney Thomas looking chick on Tinder, do you swipe right? Hell yeah. You aren't like, oh wow, she's amazing. Oh, but what's this? Ew, her bio kinda sucks. Swipe left. That is not how it works. Why would you think women are any different? Some people recommend, I don't know, a certain number of pictures, like, oh, you need more than this, oh, you don't need that many. I don't know, anywhere between 2 and 5 should be fine. I had usually 4 to 8 in total. I personally had one gym/fitness pic, as you saw before. I had one at uni, so it shows I'm not some gym cell dumbass. I'm an education boy. I had one with friends, I think, but I was about the same height as them. Ideally, they'd be shorter so you look better. It's a mog or be mogged world out there, but I'm not like a 6'4" dude by any means, so doing this is unlikely. I had one of me playing basketball, I think, showing that I do other fun stuff. Can't remember the rest, but I guarantee you most of them didn't care. The main gym pic was probably the only thing I needed. The friends thing, I guess, was social proof, and also a better view of my face, since the phone kind of had my face hidden a bit, and the uni thing was just to show that I'm more of a well-rounded guy. But you don't really need to show that in your pics. You need to look good at first, since attraction is important, and then when you start chatting, then you show them that you're a more well-rounded person, not just some one-trick pony. But yeah, there isn't really much to dating apps. I know some red pill grifters and dating coaches will sell you their course on how to get guaranteed matches on dating apps. Well, I never, ever paid for any of these, and I still got plenty of matches. It's called being hot. If you're not getting matches, it's not your bio, bro. It could be your specific pictures, but I never paid for a professional photographer. I just got a pump at the gym one day, then took a pic in the toilets, used that as number one pic, grabbed some pic of me at uni, used some Instagram photo I had at a social event, some others, and bam, that's enough. Spent $0 on getting heaps of matches. So yeah, bro, it might be over if you're not getting matches. Try getting leaner and taking an ab pic like I did in some lighting that makes you look more tan, not more diced. The veins on your abs do not look as good as a tan on a more slender set of abs. Make sure the lighting is really good. Yeah, I was a bit YOLO nonchalant with the pictures I used, but the lighting was still good in all cases. But I can tell you, there is no method on how to get more matches that you can pay for. Do you think guys like Bailey Smith and Alexis Icarus need to pay for ways to get matches? Look at the comments on this reel from Alexis. The hoes be thirsting big time. Some of these comments are a little bit brutal to read, lol. I suppose he must have paid for Adonis School's Get Matches course, or whatever other dating apps there is. He totally doesn't just look good in the eyes of females. It can't be that easy, can it? Surely there's some secret. These two blonde guys mog me to high hell and back, but despite these guys mogging me, I still didn't need to pay for this dating coach shit. It's called looking good enough. Simple. And quick note before I finish this video, nose is one thing that's a part of Looksmaxxing. The reason I didn't talk about it in this video is because you can't make your nose look any better without rhinoplasty. So it's either deal with your nose or get surgery. I saw one video of this guy like contouring his nose, but honestly it didn't really make that much of a difference. In my opinion anyway. But even then, contouring your nose isn't going to make you go from a 2 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10, right? Now, the type of nose will depend on your face as well. Like what I said with the hair section, I can't give a suggestion on, oh, get this type of nose, since it'll depend on your individual circumstances. I have an Asian nose, apparently it's a thing, but it's like more round versus being more pointy, if that makes sense. I might look better with a nose job, but the return on investment is not even remotely worth it. I've had plenty of attention over the years with my current nose, so it can't be that bad. I have seen some Asian chicks get a nose job so it looks more Caucasian, but I don't even see a boost in their appearance, to be honest. One of the transformations I saw showed a noticeable improvement. But she had different hair, was leaner, and the skin complexion also looked different. hardly an apples to apples comparison. So look at rhinoplasty if you have a giant Pinocchio lying nose, but for most of us, our noses are probably fine. So those are 7 ways to Looksmaxx properly. Hopefully you now have ideas on how to improve your looks. Obviously, in a lot of cases, you probably heard something you didn't really want to hear. But someone has to tell you. The grifters online won't, since I can't sell you anything on it. Women won't tell you. They'll lie and give you red herrings, other stuff to chase that are not the answer. Like, oh, you're a sweet guy, you'll find someone, keep going. And now you're wasting your time on something that's over anyway. You're better off just improving your own life and living a nice cruisy life instead. Obviously, you can still do stuff and improve your appearance, but you can't cold shower and mindset your way into an extra foot of height and a Bailey Smith face. You can only enhance what you already have and prevent any negatives like getting fat or aging terribly or losing your existing hair. I've worked 7 days a week for the past 4.5 years. I figured out a lot about the stock market. I completed my post-tertiary studies. I created a monetized YouTube channel. I maintained my aesthetics. I did all of that crap over the past 4.5 years. I know how to work hard. If all it took was hard work to become a 10 out of 10, I would have done so by now. By the way, the thumbnail, total clickbait. Do you really think it's that easy to totally change your appearance that drastically? If it was, why don't we all look like Liam Hemsworth? And why doesn't every girl look like Semra Bazel or however you pronounce her name? So yeah, again, probably not what you want to hear, but someone's got to tell you. Don't shoot the messenger. Or do. Comments are good for the algorithm. So what Looksmaxxing techniques do you implement? Anything here you're going to change yourself, such as your dating app pictures, the shoe lifts, the hair? Let me know in the comments. Keep improving. Thanks for watching. That is all.